Part C, you're asked for the rate, the angle between the ladder and the ground are changing. I've labeled that as theta. So I need something that relates theta and probably the 13 feet that was given. Since earlier in the problem I solved for both dy dt and dx dt, it doesn't really matter whether I use sine or cosine, but I'm going to use cosine because that was in relation to the original 12 feet and dx dt that were given. So I'll say cosine of theta equals adjacent, which is x, over hypotenuse, which is always 13 in this case. It doesn't change. Recognizing that because I want the rate theta changes, I'm trying to find d theta dt. That's what I'm looking for. So in order to introduce a d theta dt into the problem, I need to differentiate everything with respect to time. And as I do, the derivative of cosine is negative sine of theta times d theta dt, because we're taking the derivative with respect to time, equals 1/13 x to the 0 now, or just 1/13 times 1 times dx dt. Remembering that if we were taking the derivative of 5x, we'd get 5. If we're doing it with respect to t, we'd get 5 dx dt, and that 5 and 1/13 are just constants. So now we can plug in everything we have. We know this to be 5 feet per second to the right, so it's positive, times 1/13 equals negative sine of theta times d theta dt. And now I'm going to figure out what sine of theta is. Since I know that this was 13, this was 12, and that was ultimately 5, then I can say sine of theta equals opposite over hypotenuse, which is equal to 5/13. So that can be used instead of sine of theta. So now I have negative 5/13 d theta dt equals 5 feet per second over 13. I will invert and multiply. So I'm multiplying everything by, we'll do negative 13 over 5. So all of these cancel. And I have d theta dt equals negative 13 over 5 times 5/13. Everything cancels except the negative, and so my answer is negative 1 radian per second. The negative is just indicating that as the ladder falls down, this angle theta is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, which makes total sense.